The internet has always been a breeding ground for creativity, innovation, and drama. It's a place where new ideas are born, flourish, and then are copied. A recent example that has drawn significant attention is the phenomenon of what I am calling content cop clones. Those who are imitating the famous YouTuber Idubbbz series, Content Cop.
Welcome back to Content Cop. Today's issue, fidget spinners.
What we do here is go back.
Content Cop stands out for its unique format and unflinching critique of other YouTube personalities and their content. And with the popularity and impact that the series has had, it's not surprising that it has inspired, or perhaps more accurately spawned, a host of clones. Channels and content that heavily borrow from or mimic the Content Cop style. Today we will discuss who these clones are, how closely they mirror the original Content Cop series, their impact, and more importantly, the broader implications of their existence. Are they riding the wave of Idubbbz's success and failures, or are they adding value to the YouTube community in their own right? Now, before we examine the clones, it's essential to fully understand what makes the Content Cop series such a well-loved and equally controversial fixture of YouTube culture. The Content Cop series, for those of you who may not be familiar, is a mix of comedy and serious critique, with Idubbbz taking on the role of a police officer. He scrutinizes the content, behavior, or practices of various YouTube personalities, and at times entire genres of YouTube videos, pulling no punches in his criticism. Idubbbz isn't just wearing a police uniform for laughs. He's playing the role of an enforcer, calling out problematic behavior or low-quality content in the YouTube community. It's a powerful satirical tool that he wields with masterful effect. This series is one of the most infamous YouTube series of all time. The 14 Content Cop videos Idubbbz created garnered around 200 million views total, with each video averaging around 10 to 20 million views. This series was so massive, it even has its own IMDb page. What makes the Content Cop format so unique and appealing, however, goes beyond its clever premise. Idubbbz combined in-depth research, biting humor, and sharp insight in each episode, which allows him to expose the flaws and hypocrisy of his targets. Moreover, his commentary often sparked larger discussions about YouTube's culture, standards, and practices, further amplifying the series' impact. I vividly remember when a Content Cop would drop. It was an era like no other. The internet would pause and watch as the YouTube drama would unfold. By all means, from a viewer's perspective, Idubbbz Content Cop was a massive success and will forever go down in the internet's history as one of the most impactful pieces of content to ever exist. And yet, Idubbbz regrets creating it?
I'm sorry to everyone that I made Content Cop videos on. I still don't like the majority of you, and that's fine, but I can recognize that you did not deserve the hate and harassment that I sent your way.
He has since privated his Content Cop videos, and with any popular format on YouTube, if someone stops making a certain popular content, someone else will. And now Content Cop has inevitably led to the emergence of imitators. These Content Cop clones, as I am referring to, borrow heavily from Idubbbz's format, whether it's the dressing up as a cop, the style of critique, or the targets they choose. Sometimes it's whole channels, sometimes it's just single videos on a regular channel. Sometimes called content cops, content constables, content deputies, or whatever, this style of video exists directly from the creation of Idubbbz Content Cop. Just take a look. There's Can You Bruh, who started his channel with a Content Cop style video on Idubbbz. Biggest video on the channel? Content Cop on Idubbbz. There's this person, Big Bungie, biggest video on their channel? Content Cop on Idubbbz. There's Omegon. This person uses a Cthulhu-like character to do content cops or content constables. They've been doing it for years. There's even a fanboy content cop on Idubbbz that just dropped as I was researching this. At first glance, it's easy to dismiss these creators as mere copycats looking to ride on the coattails of Idubbbz's success or failures. But there's something more interesting going on here, which is why I wanted to create this video. After all, I create content about internet culture intricacies, and this is unique.
At last, I am surrounded by people who get me. People who understand me and people who think like me. Man, this feels good.
A key characteristic of these clones is their focus on calling out other creators, which ironically, most Content Cop clones created are Content Cop videos on Idubbbz. I'm sure most of you tuning into this video are aware of the Idubbbz drama over the past 6 months or few years. Idubbbz has been probably the most dunked on man of 2023 on the internet. Between his conflict with Froggy Fresh, Sam Hyde, and lots of other creators, he's become an extremely controversial figure, thus opening the door to other creators creating content cops on Idubbbz himself, creating these clones. However, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. After all, critique and commentary are integral parts of a healthy creative community. And of course, it's worth noting that imitation isn't necessarily a negative thing in itself. It can often be a form of flattery, and it can help new creators find their voice. I can pretty much guarantee all of these Content Cop clones were at once fans of Idubbbz, but throughout the years have lost interest in who he has become. The problem is when imitation becomes mere duplication without innovation or a unique twist. Not all Content Cop clones are created equal. Some have used the format as a starting point and added their unique spin, creating content that pays homage to the original while still bringing something new to the table. Others, unfortunately, merely mimic the surface level elements of the Content Cop series without capturing the essence that makes the series truly engaging. I don't like putting other creators down, so I'm not going to showcase any of these, but you can clearly see some of these clones using this format ineffectively with a quick YouTube search. Instead, here's an interesting example of a Content Cop clone effectively using this style to launch a channel. You can see here this fellow, Can You Bruh, we talked about him earlier. He started his channel with a Content Cop style video on Idubbbz and has since did videos on H3H3 and even taken it a step further, doing parodies of other iconic series from Idubbbz like Bad Unboxing and Legit Food Review. Whether you like his takes or not, clearly it's working, as his channel has grown significantly over the last 2 months. Clearly, people enjoy his parodied content, but it does make you wonder, what happens next? You can only imitate someone for so long before you become the person you are imitating. And that's the irony of this content and why so many people are confused about Idubbbz's clones in these videos. Probably my favorite example I discovered through my extensive research is this channel here, Dank Rishu. Dank Rishu is an Indian YouTuber who literally took the Content Cop format and applied it to his own country and their drama. He's even described on his official YouTube fandom page as being known for his content Chowkidar, which I know I pronounced that wrong, series, in which he criticizes YouTubers and calls them out for their behavior online, mixed with comedic parodies and dark humor. Content Chowkidar, for those of you who don't know, in English means content watchman, so another version of a cop. I don't know what he's doing here, but it's hilarious. Look at him rummaging through things, and this ladder sequence, it goes on for far too long, but I absolutely love it. Another example of somebody taking the original Content Cop formula and making it their own. There's something to be said about Content Cop in its format. Clearly, with the success of the original Content Cops, and now the clones, clearly this format works. YouTube and its viewers like this style of content. There's a reason channels like Internet Anarchist and SunnyV2 get millions of views. People enjoy content that ends up holding other creators accountable. These commentaries, documentaries, or whatever you want to call them, are a refreshing light at the deep tunnel which is the internet. If it wasn't for Content Cops or these style of channels, a lot of creators would get away with a lot of stuff they shouldn't. Although this is an incredibly slippery slope. Despite their potential to contribute positively, some of these styles of channels unfortunately fall into the trap of using their voice as a license to bully or harass. they may end up creating a toxic culture of public shaming under the disguise of accountability. Years later, that's why Idubbbz removed his content, because he felt like the content was creating a toxic culture of public shaming. For viewers, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, these channels can offer fresh perspectives and keep creators accountable, and clearly they get tons of views. On the other hand, they contribute to a culture of fear, negativity, and drama. But let's pause for a moment and consider another perspective. These creators are trying. They're putting in the effort to produce content, analyze other creators, write scripts, film, edit, and post their videos on YouTube. I'd say 95% of them are not just copy-pasting ideas or takes. Sure, some are. I mean, how many bad things can someone say about Idubbbz? Can there really be 100 different videos roasting him and they all be completely unique? Of course not. There will be some overlap, but I'd say most are using this format as a base and adding their own flavor to it. And perhaps they are heavily inspired by Idubbbz and his Content Cop series, but is that inherently bad? All forms of art, from literature to music to film, are built on the shoulders of those who came before. Creators learn from each other, inspire each other, and build upon each other's work. In fact, the effort required to make a good Content Cop style video is high. The ones that are considered higher quality get the most views. Creators need to pick their subjects carefully, conduct thorough research, create convincing arguments, and package it all into an entertaining and engaging format. It's not just a matter of slapping together some clips and calling it a day. It's more than that. That's not to say there shouldn't be any criticism of Content Cop clones. Criticism is a crucial part of growth. After all, if a video is poorly made, lacks solid arguments, copies another directly, or misrepresents its subjects, then it doesn't deserve success. But we should also recognize the effort that goes into making these videos and the courage it takes to put out your work for the world to see it. I, for one, think we should try to keep an open mind when it comes to these Content Cop clones, and clones in general. I know online lately there's been a crusade on creators who copy certain styles. If you heard of the Mr. Beastification of YouTube, which actually kind of inspired this video, you'll know what I'm talking about. Try to view these creators as fellow fans paying homage to a creator they admire, or maybe once did. And if you're a Content Cop clone watching this, don't be afraid to take inspiration from others, but also strive to find your own unique voice. Most of you deep down once enjoyed Idubbbz content. There's no shame in admitting that. Just try and create content that's unique. That's all. Well, that's another weird thing that I noticed on the internet this week. For more, make sure to subscribe. I create content every week on social science, internet culture, YouTube, and more. Thanks so much. Until next time.
Ooh, that's kind of small. Yikes.